All right, so we are taking our notes. We are turning to the last page. All right, this says Sarah deposits $1,000 into an account paying 3.8% interest compounded continuously. Go ahead and look at the front page of your sheet, the formulas, and tell me which formula we use for compounded continuously. Compounded continuously. Y equals PE to the RT. What's special about E? What did I say in the notes?
It is a number.
It is a number that's on your calculator. It's kind of like pi. It's a special button on your calculator. All right. So if we look at the numbers we have to find a number for P, we have to find a number for R, we have to find a number for T. Y is the final amount that she has in 5 years. That's what we're looking for. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. So what numbers do we see here?
Your initial value, P is 1,000.
Okay.
And then your R is the percentage, so 3.8.
3.8, but we have to rewrite it
Into a decimal.
as 0.038. Okay.
And then your time is
5 years. Okay, so we're going to say Y equals 1,000. Then we use the E button on our calculator. And then for our exponent, we have 0.038 times 5. Okay, so let's grab our calculators. We've got 1,000. How do we get the E on the screen? Anyone know where it is? Second ln. Second ln. And it will automatically ask you what exponent you want.
Wait, then what is the E doing over the division symbol? Is that the same thing, or?
I don't know. I will try it in a second. Yeah. So what are we putting for the exponent? 0.038 times 5. Okay. And then let's go ahead and try it with the other one. 1,000. Oh, if you just want to use, let's try it. I'm going to try it. 0.038. Oh.
Oh, no, now it's not.
There we go. So both of them work. If you guys notice, there's another E button over the division symbol. So you can do second ln or second division symbol. Isn't that tricky? Nobody? No? Okay. Tough crowd. Tough crowd. How did we do on Thanksgiving? Halloween, lots of candy? Is now a good time for a candy tax?
No, wait.
I didn't bring any candy.
I didn't even go trick or treating.
But I will bring you candy.
I like chocolate candy.
Okay. Like what? Like.
I'm equal opportunity.
Do you have
As long as it's chocolate.
Yeah. Okay.
Chocolate candy. Yeah. Yeah.
My brother did.
Well, none of you should have gone trick-or-treating. You're too old. However, that doesn't mean you didn't get candy.
I mean, I did scare a couple of kids.
Oh, that's terrible. Okay, so listen to this. My brother, he has small children, so he dresses up because he's like that. He dressed up as Deadpool. Deadpool? Yeah. And the costume head was like,
He had a big one.
it was big. And he stayed in character all night.
Oh, that's
All night.
All night.
curse words that he said in front of children.
Yeah, that's
He curses regularly in front of his children. The 9-year-olds play Grand Theft Auto. The 9-year-olds. The 9-year-olds. Yeah. However, so he was like hiding behind trees, messing with cops,
Ooh, that's fun.
doing all the things.
Hey, I almost got it.
Oh man. All right. So let's go ahead and write this. How much money? How many decimals?
It is.
How many decimals should I have if we're talking about money? 2.
So
Yeah.
it would be
All right. We got to write our sentence.
1,000. Okay, after 5, Sarah. Wait, how much are we doing? Oh, Sarah.
So we're writing our sentence.
Sarah will have.
So in 5 years, Sarah had how much money?
1,000. 1,209 and 25 cents. Yeah. There you go.
Okay, so that wasn't too bad. We are actually going to skip the next one because we haven't dealt with any bases of E. Have you guys noticed that? That was a new base for an exponent. We haven't done that. So we skip that one. But we are going to go on to the next one. So this one says Halflife. What's the formula for this one?
It will be
P to the half.
P times 1/2
To the T divided by H.
to the T divided by H. Okay, so we have P, we have T, we have H. Y is the final amount. So there are 80 grams of cobalt-58, which has a half-life of 71 days. How many grams remain after 250 days?
Your initial would be 80.
Okay.
Times 250.
250 days. How long is your half-life?
71.
71. Okay. So we have Y equals 80 times 1/2 to the 250 divided by 71.
And do we have to put parentheses around 1/2 too? Or
Yes.
okay.
Good question.
So what does H stand for?
So say that again.
What does H stand for?
H is how long a half-life is, and T is how much time you have.
Okay.
Okay. So we've got 80 times 1/2 to the 250 divided by 71.
And since we're talking about grams, we do 3 decimals.
Yes, and we can do 3 decimals on this one because it doesn't make more sense to only have 2. Now, when I have you guys do it on the worksheet, I just have you do 2 for every single problem to stay consistent. So after 250 days, there are 6.97 grams of cobalt-58 remaining.
Will we have word problems, like will we have to answer with word problems on the EOC?
So the EOC is kind of new to me because this class used to have an NCFE, and the EOC is new as of last year, and I didn't teach this class last year. So I know there's multiple choice questions and like gridded response questions. I don't know if there's like free response questions, but I can look into it.
I think it's just like the bubble sheet and like the writing in the answers. I don't think
Yeah.
there's
Yeah, I don't think that there's any that are like straight up like this where you have to do all of it. I think it's just, and so I don't think you'd have any sentence answers, but I will look into it and just tell you for sure. Okay. The next one says how long until 1 gram remains. So if it asks that question, how long, what variable are we going to solve for this time? T. Okay, so the P is still 80. The time is no longer 250. That's what we're solving for. Is the H the same?
Half-life is still 71.
The half-life is going to stay the same. What's the final amount then? So if we're solving for time, then they must have told us the final. 1. Okay. So now we're going to say 1 equals 80 times 1/2 to the T divided by H. T divided by 71. Now, our goal is to get things away from T. So those of you who want to do 80 times 1/2 to get 40 are wrong. You would get a completely wrong answer if you do that. Because we're not trying to put things together, and we can't put those together anyway. We have to move things away from T. So what's the first thing we can move away from T? Divide by 80. So we're going to have 1 divided by 80 equals 1/2 to the T divided by 71. And the T is trapped in an exponent. So how do we get rid of the base of the exponent? How do we get rid of the 1/2? We log. So we're going to log base 1/2 of the left side, and we're going to log base 1/2 of the right side.
Wait, when did we do 2 then? Because I feel like
If it was a coefficient,
Okay.
if it was a 1/2 in the front being multiplied, then you could multiply by 2. But since it's a base, we have to do a log. So we have log base 1/2 of 1 over 80 equals t divided by 71.
And then multiply by 71.
And then we're going to multiply the 71 over. So 71 times log base 1/2 of 1 over 80 equals t. And how do I type that in my calculator? 71, math up. And Henry, how do you type it in yours? You're going to do log button 1 divided by 80 divided by log button 1 divided by 2. All right, so what's our answer?
1 gram will remain after 440.86 days. Can we try this cycle?
Sure. All right. Anya says she thinks this example is not too easy or is not too hard for us, so we want to go back up and try this one. Let me get that one written down.
Is this going to be on our worksheet? Something like this?
It is, but I'm going to have you not do it.
Okay, so if we can skip on the worksheet.
I mean, if we do it now, we could make it a bonus question on the test.
See?
Okay, just show me how to do it.
Okay. All right, so this one we had y equals p e to the rt. It says how long, so what variable are we solving for? T. Okay. How long will it take the account to reach 2,000? So what's our p value still?
He's still 1,000.
P is still 1,000. What's r still?
0.038.
0.038. The t is different. What's the y?
2,000.
2,000. Okay. So now let's go ahead and do it on our calculator. Or not our calculator. Let's write out what we have first. So 2,000 equals 1,000 e to the 0.038 t. So what do we do first? Divide by 1,000. And then we have our t.
Can we log base T?
Log base e, log base e. Is my printer doing something? It's scanning. Why is it scanning? So we have log base e of 2. Okay. And we divide by 0.038. 0.038. Okay. So how do I type this on my calculator?
Log base E.
So we do math up, log base. How do I get the e?
I do second divide, please, since second divide doesn't have an exponent.
Okay, you could do second divide. Now, if you did the second ln version, second ln asks you for an exponent. What should the exponent be? 1. Yeah, anytime Anytime you have something all by itself, it's an exponent of 1.
Should we have done this as like a fraction because you have to do it over 0.03?
You can, but since it's only divided by one thing, you can just hit divide when you're done. And since it's not adding something on the end, it's just log base e of 2. So log base e of 2, then you can do divide by 0.038. So we'll say the account reaches $2,000. The account reaches $2,000 in 18.241 years. So when you guys work on the assignment, it's going to give you the equation that you're working with every time. So if you guys can see, this equation right here is going to work for this whole page. Okay, so you don't have to guess your equation. That's the same way it's going to be on the test. I'm just going to give you the equation to use. Okay, and then it asks you to include units on every answer and to round all decimals to the nearest hundredth, which is 2 decimal places. Okay. All right, so if we look at the first one, it says you have inherited an emerald ring that is appraised at $2,400 in 1971. It is now 2007, and the appraised value of the ring has increased by approximately 6% each year. So how do we figure out the ring's current value? They told us we're using this equation.
So we plug in the numbers.
Yep, so we've got to figure out what P is, what R is, what T is, and what is the starting value? 2,400. Okay. And the rate is 6%. Should we plug it in as 6? 0.06. And it was appraised in 1971, and it is now 2007. 36 years. Okay? And so what do we do with all that information? Yeah, y equals p, but don't actually write p like I did. Go ahead and plug the number in. Y equals 2,400. 1 plus the rate to the t power. The ring's current value is, and I'm going to write it, don't say it out loud. Everyone has to type it for themselves. All right, next problem. I'm not telling you how much it is. You do the math yourself. We said what to plug in. All right. How long would it take for the ring to reach a value of 35,000?
No.
So when it says how long, what variable are we solving for? Time, t. So t is question mark. The initial value is still going to be the same. The rate is still going to be the same. But this time we have an ending amount. What is the ending amount? 35,000. Okay. So what do we do?
Why don't you do 35,000 equals
2,400.
1 plus 0.06.
Okay. And then what do I do? Divide by 2,400.
Are we going to keep that as a fraction?
I'm going to take those zeros away at least. When you divide the zeros by that, it's kind of like dividing by 10 on top and bottom. So it's like we divided by 10 twice to get rid of all those zeros. 350 over 24. That's not a nice decimal, so I'm going to go ahead and leave that as that fraction. So 350 over 24 equals 1 plus 0.06. Could that be a nice decimal? Yeah, 1.06 to the t. Okay, so how do I get to the t? Base. Yep, we got log base 1.06, log base 1.06. So t is log base 1.06 of that whole fraction. All right, I'm going to let you guys type that in. Henry, you ready to type this? Log 350 divided by 24 divided by log 1.06. This is the Henry way. You guys do it your way. You guys have it easier. You can do it Henry's way. But I'm not giving you guys the answers. All right. It will take... Oh no, am I writing off the screen? Shucks,
Oh, no.
You'll just have to do it for yourself. It will take a certain number of years for the ring to be worth $35,000. It will take... Oh no! I gave you the previous answer on accident. All right, I'm going to let you guys get started working on these. Sound good? So whenever it asks the question how long you're solving for t, and since t is always in the exponent, that means we're going to have to always use a log. Okay, does that make sense? So anytime it asks you how long it takes for something, that means you're solving for t. T is always in the exponent spot, that means you're going to use a log. Okay? All right, real quick. All right, if we look, number 13 you're going to do, number 14 you can choose to do if you want to practice for a potential bonus question. 15 you don't have to do, 16. 15 you need to do, 16 you can X out, yeah.
I have a question that really just got done answering.
Mm-hmm.
If you round the answer, if
0.99.
okay,
Yeah. Did that answer your question?
yeah.
Yeah.
So
All right.
we're marking out 14 and 16.
14 and 16 you can do if you want to potentially practice for a bonus question, or you cannot do them, it's up to you. All right. So 14 and 16 are something that you would learn eventually, but it's technically not part of Math 3. That's why we're Xing them out. Okay. So go ahead and get started working on this. I'll get the answer key up.